This is something that I've been wanting to make for a few days, but I just haven't been able to do so. And because the rest of my week is so busy, I'm not going to be able to do it tomorrow, so I'm doing it today. This little project that I've had in mind, which is how to build special offense. Or more specifically, the guide to build special offense. I've made videos like this in the past, but I wanted to make something a bit more updated, and ideally something a bit shorter too. I'm going to try and make this a shorter form video. Usually I do like hour-long videos, but I'm going to try and avoid doing that today, and I'm going to try and make this as informative as possible in like a shorter period of time. But I made a post a few weeks ago on the 6th pertaining to special offense, what Pokemon fit on it, what their rules are, so on and so forth. I even included a few sample teams as well, but I just wanted to make something like a better, like a more visual guide of how this stuff comes together. So, the first thing that you're going to need for every special offense team is one, a Zapdos, because Zapdos is God. You cannot go without it. Every special offense team is mandated to use it. There is not a single viable special offense team without Zapdos. I've tried doing without Zapdos, it never works. You lose so much utility and so much power from the loss of Zapdos. It is just too good. It threatens too much, it checks too much, it's just too good. You literally can't go without it. So, I feel like I've said so multiple times already. That is the repetitiveness and my repetitive nature and so on and so forth. The other thing that is mandated on special offense is Dugtrio. Dugtrio is basically the face of the style. It's the cog of the system that makes everything work. It's very similar to Dragmag. Dragmag wouldn't work without Magnezone, obviously. And like Magnezone, Dugtrio has a very... well, actually, it has two sets. It has the bulky set, which I will show here. I will be occasionally pulling pastes from this post here, but this is usually what the spreads are going to look like. You have the traditional bulky Dugtrio. This Dugtrio is made for Dug to live Blissey, specifically Modest Blissey after a spike. And with Beat Up, it will always 2-hit KO it. Keep in mind that the way how Beat Up works is that if one of your... It takes the base attack stat from every Pokemon in your party. If one of those Pokemon faints, they don't contribute to the Beat Up. The same thing applies if they're statused as well. If the Pokemon is statused, they cannot contribute to Beat Up either. So that is something that is very, very important. And I've lost a good few ladder games because of that mechanic, Pokemon being statused. And because bulky Dugtrio has a lower attack, it's not able to 2-hit KO bulkier Blissey outside of Sand with Earthquake. And then there's the traditional Dugtrio. You usually don't see these on special offense, but they can be good in certain matchups. So if you're going against somebody in a tournament setting, and they're not known for using a lot of Blissey, or they're very light on their special checks, Jolly Dugtrio can be used. It's got a lot of benefits. Being able to trap DD Tar at +1 every time, no matter what. Trapping Raikou. Raikou is a massive threat to special offense. Being able to trap Starmie every time, that's a big deal as well. Being able to trap opposing bulky Dugtrio every time without fail, that's also a big deal. And the higher attack stat makes it better at trapping Celebi. Now, the bulky Dugtrio, its spread does allow Dugtrio to live modest Giga Drain from full. Of course, if it takes damage from a spike or whatever, it's going to die to Giga Drain. So that is something worth noting. And it also allows Dugtrio to survive some other stuff, like, I think it could survive, like, certain EQs as well. But that's more of, like, a niche thing, you know? And, Ice Beam from Pursuit Tar as well, that's also a big one. Being able to live Ice Beam from full from Pursuit Tar can definitely be beneficial. That being said, most special offense teams tend to take advantage of Suit Tar very well. So, it's just more of a minor thing, if anything. Now, knowing that these two are mandated... Excuse me. Let's talk about how what a traditional special offense structure is going to look like. So you have your Zapdos and your Dugtrio. Next, you're going to need a Rock Resist. The Rock Resist is mandated. People in the past have run special offense teams without Rock Resists. It doesn't really work. I mean, even if you lead off with a water and you have a ton of waters, denying Dragon Dance Tyranitar setup turns all match is not feasible. It's not realistic. Dragon Dance Tyranitar is going to come in on something, and it's going to click Dragon Dance at some point. It is not possible to prevent it completely from just coming in and setting up. You can't do it. So you need a Rock Resist. You need a way to resist Tyranitar's attacks, or to either force it out or KO it. Now, the most popular pick is usually Metagross. Let's see, where is it? Oh, right here. Defensive, glue, / support Pokemon. So Metagross is the best one. Though this choice band spread is actually outdated. I made another choice band spread that's a bit more up to date. Let me actually grab it. No, it's not here. It's elsewhere. I think I have to scroll down a bit to find it. I think it's on this team, yeah. This spread right here. With 172 defense. So, let's see. So this spread allows choice band meta to do a bunch of stuff. The biggest thing that it lets it do, and this is pretty cool, this is something that I've researched myself, and it does work. This allows choice band Metagross to survive a Adamant Tyranitar EQ at +1 with a Spike Up, and it allows choice band Metagross to OHKO even bulky Tyranitar with Meteor Mash. So, this custom spread basically allows you to at least check DD-Tar at least one time. It's also better into Arrow, because the increased defense stat means that you can take Rock Slides a bit better. It also means that you could take certain other stuff better, like opposing Metagross EQ, Snorlax, stuff like that. And it's also pretty unexpected, because most choice band meta are on the frailer side, or they're not EV'd to take such attacks. But with this spread, you're able to take it every time, and Jolly DD Tar just bounces off. So, yeah, it's cool. And plus, because it's choice band, the explosion is still really, really powerful. It's still going to KO things. The Meteor Mash it isn't the tactical nuke that it usually is, but it's a bit weaker for sure. But it still hits very hard with the choice band. And usually, you're gonna need an electric resist as well. The electric resist is important because no matter what, opposing Zapdos, and not just opposing Zapdos, but Jolteon, Gengar, Raikou, Pokemon like that are going to find their way in, and they're going to start being annoying. And being able to resist their attacks to some degree is pretty important, especially Jolteon. Jolteon is very annoying for these styles because it's able to throw around status. Its electric stab is very strong. It's one of the fastest Pokemon in the game too, so it's pretty hard to find Pokemon that outrun it consistently. So usually the most common Pokemon to slot here would be Celebi, but you could also go Jolteon. It's not Jolteon, that is Starmie. Jolteon is good on special offense too, especially because it has synergy with Dugtrio. A lot of Jolteon's answers, like defensive Jirachi, opposing Jolteon, less so opposing Jolteon, but Celebi, Pokemon like that, are good answers to Jolteon. But because Jolteon is grounded, it also has some other answers like Flygon. Swampert can usually live a hit from Jolteon, and a lot of times you will see Swampert players switch their Swampert into Jolteon in an attempt to deal with it. And sometimes you'll either have to sub on it with Jolteon or hit it on the switch with a status move or hidden power grass. So with that in mind, Jolteon is good at luring Pokemon like Flygon and Swampert, and therefore it actually makes really good partners of Celebi as well, not just because you relieve pressure from Celebi, because Celebi isn't the only one that's tasked with being the electric resist, but Jolteon has synergy with Celebi as well, because Jolteon outruns a lot of the fires in the tier. Celebi switches into Claydol extremely well. It resists Claydol's attacks. It baits Explosion. Celebi also switches into opposing Celebi very well. It's immune to Leech Seed. It can set up Calm Minds. It can pass Calm Minds to Jolteon, and passing Calm Minds to Jolteon is pretty devastating because of how fast it is. Jolteon can then set up substitutes and Baton Pass, and create like a sort of Baton Pass chain. That's cool as well. And Jolteon can act as a backup check to some of the other waters, because again, Celebi can sometimes get overwhelmed if you're solely reliant on it to check certain stuff, and Jolteon's ability to come in and help out Celebi, there's some pretty good synergy there. I haven't really seen a lot of exploration there, but it has potential, especially with like a Calm Mind Pass sort of thing. But Jolteon is a good electric answer. Flygon doesn't really see a lot of use. Swampert can be a good electric resist alongside Celebi. If you have Celebi and Swampert together, they tend to be pretty sturdy against a lot of the electrics in the tier. They aren't absolutely ironclad, of course, but they tend to get the job done when you pair the two together. some might joke that Blissey might be a good option on special offense. Here's the thing, though. While Blissey's special attack isn't terrible, and it just walls the hell out of everything, its attack is really weak, and it doesn't contribute to beat up at all. And also, if you beat up with a Blissey on your team, it's like a dead giveaway that there's a Blissey, right? Because they're going to see that there's like a beat up damage that does only 1, because Blissey's attack is literally 10. So when they see that there's like no damage going off, they're going to know, oh shit, there's a Blissey. So I do think that Blissey special offense is an unexplored concept. I think it could work. Like for example, if you had a Blissey, it means you no longer really need an electric resist anymore. You could kind of just, you know, you have your Zapdos, Metagross, obviously, and then you could kind of get creative here, right? Because Blissey's your main electric resist, and your main check to everything. So you could do like Calm Mind, you know, the Calm Mind set with the basic like Thunderbolt and Bolt Beam. You could do like a 3 attack set as well. Like, for example, you could run, like, Fire Blast on it, you know, so on. Use, like, 99% of the time you're not going to see Blissey on special offense. It's very much like a pace mismatch. You don't really see Blissey on offense at all. The other electric answer, where is it? Regice. Regice is not a perfect electric answer, but it can resist T-Bolt pretty well. It could be annoying, but it's not ironclad at all. It has flaws, specifically because of the weakness to passive damage. You know, it's weak in Sandstorm, weak to spikes, weak to status, it's weak to all of that. And unlike Celebi, it doesn't have natural cure. So there's that. Now, let's just say we go with like Celebi as our electric resist, right? So you have your rock resist and your electric resist. Now all you need is just 2 dedicated attackers, right? So you have your sort of defensive glue here. You have your Metagross or Celebi. We're just going to put Suicune in here. Suicune's a good fit. Resists fire. Does really good against Tyranitar, really good against everything. Forces in Metagross. And the basic Suicune set is almost always going to be the offensive Suicune with Modest. Just because, and it's always going to have a hidden power. It doesn't need to be hidden power grass. It could be hidden power electric if you think that your opponent is going to bring Gyarados into you or something. Or if you're laddering and you notice that there's a lot of Gyarados on the ladder, you could switch to hidden power electric and, you know, Gyarados is going to die. You almost always want to go to 269. Some people like to invest in bulk. I'm not that type of guy. I very much like the idea of being able to tie with Heracross. Heracross is a very big threat to special offense, and Suicune's ability to tie with it is pretty big. It's a pretty big deal, for sure. And usually, Zapdos can lead, and we'll talk a bit more in depth about the leads in special offense, but usually Zapdos can serve as a lead. Most lead Zapdos use Substitute. So, if we go over here, we can pull up the Zapdos sets, and we'll see right here, these are the most popular sets. You know, you got the Timid Nature sets, and you got the sets of Modest. There's also sets that could use, does this one have bulk? I have one with bulk. Oh yeah, this is the one with bulk. Usually substitute sets run bulk. So like this one here has, let's see, 152 speed. I think this puts it right on the 300. No, not modest. Timid. Let's see. Yeah, 301. So 301 speed, enough special attack to be threatening, and you know you got the bulky substitutes. This lets you substitute on Claydol. Usually in the lead slot, Zapdos uses Hidden Power Ice. This prevents stuff like Celebi coming in immediately and being annoying. You could chip it in range for Dugtrio, because Swampert isn't going to come into turn 1. So usually lead Zapdos will almost always have Hidden Power Ice. Now, you can run Hidden Power Grass. There are no absolutes of Zapdos. Zapdos can run anything, obviously. Most of these other sets, like Max Modest is good too. Max Modest is if you just want to truck things and just be brainless and not think about it. But usually Max Modest is better outside of the lead slot, personally. But this is usually the set that you'll see in the lead slot, right? It's this with Hidden Power Ice. This also allows you to threaten Flygon with the bulk as well. You're able to survive Rock Slides from DD Ments. You're able to better tank Rock Slides from Flygon. You threaten Flygon and its elements as well with the Hidden Power Ice. And then, you know, we've already talked about Metagross, Dugtrio. We'll just make this a standard bulky set. I don't always remember the EVs on the top of my head because they're so complicated, even though that I'm... well, I didn't create this, actually. Some other people created it in the ADV Discord. I am merely just using something that other people created for me. But this is the set that I use, usually. And with Celebi, you know, we're going to leave the set blank for now, but the one thing that we are going to put on Celebi is Calm Mind. It's always going to use Calm Mind on a special offense. And then the last could be a lot of things, right? So, we're on the weaker side to Electrics. So, we might actually go with the Jolteon idea from earlier, right? So, we have the double electric combo here. We have Celebi. We have bulky substitutes from Zapdos, right? So, we have a pretty good core here. We have double electric resists here. You know, we have Celebi and Jolteon. We have Suicune. We're able to Calm Mind, Passable, Zapdos, and Jolteon. This team is on the weaker side to opposing Jolteon, for sure. Opposing Jolteon is going to be a bit more annoying. Here, we're going to use a Calm Mind Pass set. So, what we're going to do here is we're going to use a Giga Drain, the Giga Drain HP Fire set. We're not going to use Psychic. As nice as Psychic would be, we can't really fit it. We want Celebi to be able to hit Tyranitar, because being walled by Tyranitar is pretty bad. And we also want Celebi to be able to hit something like Starmie as well. You know, being able to hit Starmie is going to be important here. So, we're just going to go max. You could run Dugtrio EVs if you want. This is also going to be on the weaker side to Zapdos, but I think, or at least substitute Zapdos. You're not going to be able to break sub-Zapdos' substitutes as reliably without Psychic. You could run Psychic, of course, but the Tyranitar matchup's going to be a bit harder. But I think that having Giga Drain here is really good. Just because, you know, Dragon Dance Tyranitar tries to Dragon Dance on +1 Celebi, you're able to reliably follow up with Jolteon, because Jolteon always outruns Tyranitar at +1. So there is that. And also because you have two good Zapdos answers, Jolteon is the best sub-Zapdos answer in the game. It always switches into it. So it's being on the weaker side to sub-Zapdos isn't that bad, right? You still have to be careful around sub-Zapdos, but it's a lot more doable, for sure. So here, we're going to run a double substitute set, so we're going to have Sub-Jolt with Sub-Zapdos. So the substitute is to create... So once you receive Calm Minds, you're able to substitute. That blocks status. That means, like, any other special hits that are level 2, you keep the substitute, and you have, like, the boosts as well. And we're going to put Baton Pass here. So we have a very solid team here, right? Very solid, very well conceived, I'd say. You know, there's a lot of synergy here. So let's make something else. This is with a Zapdos-lead, right? Now we're going to make something with one of the other leads. There are 3 main leads of special offense, and the other one is Jinx. I should note that the way how special offense is played is very aggressive, right? You want immediate advantage, and you need to be able to recognize, how am I going to be able to trap the special walls early on? What steps do I need to take to make sure that I force the special walls in, right? And therefore, your objective as a special offense player is immediate, what's it called? Immediate offensive pressure. And Jinx exemplifies this perfectly. Jinx puts things to sleep, it hides behind substitutes, it's very annoying, because it has Stab Ice, which is pretty rare in Advance. You don't really see a lot of ice types in OU. Jinx being one of the... Oops. Jinx being one of the exceptions. Let's see, we're going to rewind this a bit, because I like the soundtrack. It's my favorite soundtrack in Gen 3. And yeah, if we look here, we'll pull up the Jinx movesets and the stats. So this Jinx spread that I have here allows you to live a few things, actually. Earthquake from Swampert, Crunch from Pursuit Tar, and some other neat stuff as well. And it's a pretty cool spread. I did not create it. It's something that H-Clat gave me. It's really nice. I love it. Gives Jinx a lot more utility. It means that you literally like live or die on the Lovely Kiss. You know, you have a lot more wiggle room. So here with like the bulk, you almost always run Substitute. The Substitute Jinx set is really good. Sometimes I prefer Taunt. Taunt is also devastating. If you do run Taunt Jinx, you usually run Max. Taunt Jinx is basically to prevent setup Pokemon from coming in, so like, Calm Mind Jirachi is one. Jirachi in general, Taunt Jinx destroys. Taunt Jinx also destroys Suicune. Suicune attempts to come in, you just taunt it, and you just hit it with Ice Beam over and over and over, and you could trade out and maybe even get it in range for a Dug Trap. Yeah, Jinx's advantages are numerous, and sometimes Jinx could even 6-0 from the lead slot. I've done it to people, I've experienced it, I've seen it done even at, like, super high level play. We're talking about top level, like, top 1%. I have seen Jinx actually 6-0 people at the highest level of play. This is real, this is something that happens. It's not something to bank on, by the way. It's just something that sometimes happens. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to you. It could happen to your opponent. But it's not something to like base your game plan on, right? If it happens, cool. If it doesn't happen, oh well, you have to play the game, right? But it is like a pretty sizable advantage, obviously, being able to instantly win the game at the start of the match is a pretty big deal. Am I even using the right duck spread? I'll be embarrassed if I'm not. I'm pretty sure I am. I am not. I'm dumb. Too much attack. Oof. There we go. So we gotta correct that on this spread as well. Have to... Boop. Boop. There we go. Also, this speed allows Duck Trail to outrun Adamant Tyranitar at +1. Very important. So, we got our mandatory Zapdos. This time we're going to take Zapdos into a different direction. I actually want my Zapdos to have Thunder Wave here. This is to for opposing offense. Jinx mainly excels at being anti-offense. Sometimes it's even good into defensive teams because a lot of defensive teams have very specific answers to Jinx, and Jinx can sometimes just hacks those answers to death, or it can, you know, use taunt and completely shut them down. Or, as I said, Ice Beam stuff happens, or you crit them, or you freeze them, or you jinx them, if you will. And ideally, the music isn't too loud. I can't even hear the music. Yeah, I can't even hear it. But I know that everyone else is going to be able to hear it. And ideally, it's not too loud. If it is too loud, I'm going to tear my hair out. But ideally, it isn't. So yeah, we're going to use T-Wave because it is anti-offense. You know, something like Gengar tries to check us. You know, boom, T-Wave. Gengar's going to die. Oh, there's a DD Salamence that comes in. Boom, T-Wave. Salamence is crippled. You know, Jolteon is trying to check our Zapdos. T-Wave. Jolteon is ruined, right? So, here, we're going to try something a bit different, right? So, we're going to use Swampert as our Rock Resist. Go with Pert. We'll throw on Celebi as well, so this is our glue. Jinx is our lead, so that takes up one of our slots. So now, we realistically only have one more slot here. And because we're on the weaker side to fires, we're gonna take a Suicune. Right? So, and Suicune isn't the thing that you have to take, by the way. I'm just taking Suicune. You could take other waters, but we want Suicune. And just because if we pull, like, the T-Wave thing off, that means our Swampert's going to be able to outrun Jolteon. Suicune is going to be able to outrun Jolteon. Suicune is also a better Mence check as well. We have multiple Mence checks on our team. Like, T-Wave Zapdos is an excellent Salamence check. Swampert is better versus the physical Salamences, but it's still good. And then we have Suicune, right? Now, we will have to be careful around Celebi, and especially Snorlax, because we have no normal resist, right? So Snorlax is a bit of a concern here. So what we're going to do here is we got Jinx, we got the T-Wave Zapdos. We're just going to run like a straight up modest Zapdos here. Because we have T-Wave, I don't think that Hidden Power Ice is necessary. Hitting Flygon here might be nice, but I don't think it's necessary. And we'll just run like Hidden Power Grass. We don't necessarily have to run Baton Pass either. We could run a lot of things. We could run you know, like Drill Peck, for example. We could run like a mixed set. A Baton Pass is usually the filler here. It's probably the best move by far, but you don't need to run it if you don't want to. Metal Sound is like a niche. So like if you run into like a Rest Snorlax, you could use Metal Sound to you know, screw it over. A Mud Slap is like a meme. I would never run this, but if you want to do something goofy, and if you want to piss people off, you could run Mud Slap with T-Wave and just do the memes if you want to do some like low ladder garbage or Mushi League. If any Mushi Leaguers are watching this, please don't use this. It's a fucking meme. Accuracy garbage is already a problem. Don't make it worse. I actually don't even know if Mud Slap is allowed in Mushi League, actually. I think Mud Slap is actually banned. Is it banned? I'll have to check that, actually. If it is banned, I'm gonna message Gold Mason about it. Gold Mason, if you're watching this video, hi. If you're not watching this video, hi anyway, but you're probably gonna end up watching this video. So, yeah, we have cool synergy here. We are weaker to Snorlax because of the lack of the normal resist. That is a concern. Electrics in general are a bit annoying, but Zapdos is manageable, right? We have the Jinx, so Jinx is going to smash a lot of lead Zapdos teams. Lead Zapdos teams have a really hard time with Jinx a lot of the time. We have the Celebi as a backup. And with the Swampert Celebi Jinx combo, we should be just good enough for the most part. But the lack of normal resists is going to hurt us versus certain teams. I'm actually going to use Agility last in like late games versus like Swampert Arrow stuff. So we have Agility, and then we have Thunder Wave. You could also use like Thunder Wave Substitute. That is a viable set. Thunder Wave Substitute 2 attacks. That is viable. You could Thunder Wave something, and then you substitute to fish for paralysis. Or you could use Substitute as like a shield. So like you substitute if something tries to pivot in. And then like if it's a Gengar or something, boom, T-Wave, right? So that's actually not a bad idea, but I might actually do that. I've never tried that, but it sounds like a cool concept. You use Substitute to scout, and then you have that extra. You know, they think that they're safe versus the Substitute set. Nope, boom, T-Wave, they get status, right? So, and I think we're solid enough into Arrow. We just have to be very careful into it. Obviously, this is probably going to end up being a more offensive Swampert. So we're just going to max. We're going to put 44 in Spadef, because this will help us take HP grasses a bit better. And, you know, Quiet. This will let us do better into Sutar. Not Sutar, DD. You know, we run the basic Swampert set. Defensive Jirachi is a bit of a concern, but with Substitute T-Wave Zapdos, it might be a bit better. T-Wave ruins Jirachi. So that is something that is good for us. I might actually run Offensive Refresh Pert. Offensive Refresh Pert is a Swampert that can check defensive Jirachi because it absorbs status pretty well. But you could run a lot of things. You could run Hidden Power Electric for Gyarados. You could run Toxic. Toxic is good. Toxic hits stuff like Blissey, forces it out. Refresh is just generically good. And you could run Hidden Power Grass too. Hidden Power Grass, 100% accurate move. Protect, you know, protects. It's just a classic move on Swampert, really. You know, gives Swampert a lot of longevity, a lot of scouting power. Roar is good here as well. Gives you a really solid phaser. Lets you dumpster Ninjask teams. SD Pass. You're not absolutely ironclad versus SD Pass Celebi, because sometimes SD Pass Celebi runs Hidden Power Grass for Roar Suicune and Roar Swampert. But it's an option as well. The last move can be a lot of things. There are no absolutes with Swampert on special offense. But for me personally, I usually use a Hidden Power. I prefer Hidden Powers on Zapdos. And for Celebi here, we're just going to run a basic Calm Mind set, right? Maybe Lead Seed would be a bit better. But I think we want 3 attacks. I think we want... Let's see. Lead Seed would be better for Kun, I think. I don't know, this has been a weird quirk of the team builder. By the way, Celebi gets Defense Curl. That's kind of funny. I actually didn't know that I got that move. We want 3 attacks, basically. And boom, boom. There you go. So, that's with Jinx. Very basic team. And next we're going to build with the last lead, I think the last major lead of ADV, and that's Vaporeon, which Vaporeon special offense might be a more recent thing, but Vaporeon is valued because, one, it sets up 101 substitutes, so Seismic Toss does not break the substitutes. And 2, Vaporeon is a Pokemon with massive amounts of power. It is the most powerful water type at base in ADVOU. 2-hit KO Skarmory with Hydro Pump, which is absolutely insane. It demolishes Snorlax. Tyranitar stands almost no chance against its stab Hydro Pumps. And other things like Metagross, other neutral targets get equally dumpstered. Fortress stands no chance against it. There's a bunch of other neutral Pokemon that get equally annihilated by Hydro Pump. Gengar gets destroyed. Jolteon is, you know, Jolteon doesn't really stand much of a chance either. And even if you don't use Hydro Pump, Surf on Vaporeon is very viable. It hits just as hard, and the consistency of Surf might make it all the more dangerous because 100% accurate move, it's always going to hit stuff. But just the absolute magnitude of Surf is what makes it so good for me. And you could actually run 2 things on Vaporeon. Leftovers is cool because it allows you to have a bit more longevity on Vaporeon. It means that it isn't just exclusively an early game beast. It might be able to come in again and click Hydro Pump and do stuff again, which makes it all of the better. You could also run Roar on it as well. That's actually my favorite move to run on Vaporeon, is Roar, so you could phase out Suicune. Let's see, I'm getting a text from my grandma. Let's see. And yeah, Vaporeon is very self-explanatory. You could run either Hydro or Surf. I prefer Hydro. Obviously, there's the downside of Hydro Pump missing, but just the ability to KO Skarmory, you know, that OHKO on Tyranitar. But Surf is viable if you want to run Surf. I personally wouldn't run it, but you are welcome to do so. Ice Beam, of course, is good too. Ice Beam completely chunks and dumpsters Celebi. It's really strong. I almost always use a Modest Nature as well. The only time that you would use a Modest Nature is if you use the Salic Vaporeon. I'm not a fan of Salic Vaporeon. I know other people are. That's not me, though. So, we got Vaporeon here. We're just going to use Surf Ice Beam. Although I do think Roar is a bit better. Ice Beam has its uses, though. And obviously, we're going to need our Zapdos and our Duck Trio. We're going to need our Rock Resist as well. This time, I'm probably just going to slot Metagross in. We're going to use the custom spread that we use on Meta. So 84 attack. Boom, boom. Checks DD Tar every time. Pretty much every time. So we got that. So we got these guys. We're not going to recreate my favorite team, but we are going to do something similar. So we're on a bit of a weaker side here versus certain stuff. So we're going to throw in... We need an Electric Resist. So we're going to throw in... let's see. Could we afford Regice? Regice seem terrible, in all honesty. Yeah, screw it. We're pretty good at denying spikes overall. And we're gonna need something else sturdy against Tyranitar. So we might... we might have to skip out on Regice if that's the case, then, if we need to be a bit more sturdy versus Tar. We'll run Celebi, and then we'll run... Let's see. And we need, like, a Solid Blast. And we need to be a bit more solid into Aerodactyl as well. Might actually run a Rain Dance Pokemon. Actually, it doesn't sound too bad. So, let's see. Although I don't really... Like, I guess we're finding the Coon, but Vaporeon already lets in Suicune. I don't want to give it more opportunities. I guess we're just slotting Gengar. Gengar isn't terrible here at all. Yeah, Gengar's cool. Gengar actively threatens Zapdos as well, so... And... Yeah, we already got this. We got all of these Pokemon that threaten Suicune, including Gengar. Gengar doesn't help as much of Arrow, but we can run Aerodactyl EVs. I think with Gengar specifically, I have... Yeah, I have spreads for it here. So I have, you know, this, and then I have... Oh, I forgot about the Cowboy Dan spread. Yeah, that's right. So, Cowboy Dan gave me a Gengar spread some time ago, like this, that lets Gar survive Ments. I don't know if it survives Arrow, but I know it survives Ments. You know, in 104, and then Rest and Speed. So 302. Timid, boom, 332. And then Hypnosis, 3 attacks. So Thunderbolt, Ice Punch, Hidden Power Grass. Where are you, Hidden Power Grass? There you are. Very devastating Gengar set. And in here, we're probably going to run T-Wave again, because T-Wave is good. Way too good, honestly. We need Mence checks as well, so we're probably going to bulk the Zapdos up a bit. We're going to run the Timid on this as well. We want this all the way to 301. So, 301. Do I want to be faster than Timid Molt? Honestly, yeah. We'll speed creep Timid Molt, and then we'll rest in special attack. So we got speed creep for Timid Molt. Just a little nice side bonus, honestly. And yeah, and then we got our basic Calm Mind Celebi, which is almost always a threat. We're a bit light on Tar answers, but it's whatever. Honestly, I think this could still work, even if we're on the weaker side versus Aerodactyl and Tar. You know, I have weathered storms, and you know, if you're on the weaker side versus those Pokemon, obviously you have to be a bit more careful, but it's not always the end of the world. You know, especially when you got all of these Pokemon to threaten stuff. So yeah, basic team here. It's a bit on the riskier side versus the rocks. It can be good, of course. So, and now we're also going to build a Rain team as well. So Rain is considered its own archetype, but it is very much viable. And I already have in mind what I want to do here. And it's kind of fun. So we're going to go with Lead Zapdos. Can never go wrong with that. We're going to throw in a Swampert, because Swampert is excellent on Rain. It's an excellent abuser of Rain. It's awesome alongside the Rain abusers because it checks the rock types in Metagross so well. We're going to run double electric here. So we got Zapdos and Jolteon. Because we want we want a Pokemon that's super solid into Gengar for the most part, and we want another Pokemon that sets up Rain, because yes, Jolteon does get Rain Dance, and we're gonna run Thunderbolt. We're gonna run Hidden Power Grass. You know, this is already, you know, we're cooking pretty hard, as the kids would say. I'm one of those kids, by the way. I'm a fucking Zoomer, and I'm acting like I am not a part of Generation Z. Although I do envy Generation X, and Generation X's... I can't think of the word, but Gen Xers are super workaholics. They're very well known for being super workaholics. And I envy that, because I wish I had that sort of work ethic. I have a work ethic, but I feel like I could work a lot harder. And I do not work as hard as the Gen Xers, that is for sure. So we got Kingdra here. We got our Swampert. Swampert here, we're going to make really aggressive. We're going to use a offensive Swampert here. So we'll have this. We'll have all of these. We might go Refresh Pert here, honestly. Just to completely screw over Tar. And Defensive Jirachi. I abhor Defensive Jirachi. And there's one thing I've learned over the years. It's that there's nothing that screws over Rain harder than Defensive Jirachi. I say fuck you, Jirachi. And I'm going to do this. Bop, bop, bop. Fuck you, Defensive Jirachi. I am going to dumpster you every single time. Fuck you and your wishes. In here, I think we actually really want to substitute Zapdos is really good here. And because it's a rain team, we're going to have more than one rain abuser. So we're going to have Kingdra. And we're going to have its brother, or rather not brother, it's more like its in-law, Ludicolo. In-law Ludicolo. And yeah, these Pokemon are really cool. This team is definitely on the weaker side versus Claydol, Milotic garbage. I hate Milotic. I absolutely abhor it, in fact. Same thing with Suicune. Suicune and Milotic are the absolute banes of the style. That being said, if you could somehow get rid of those Pokemon, oh my god, or get a matchup where you don't face them at all, this style is the devil, and it will absolutely eat other offensive styles completely alive. Kingdra, I like a bulk on. I absolutely like bulk on Kingdra. I usually don't go any faster than 210 on Kingdra. You can go faster, but my favorite Kingdras are ones that can take hits. Really leverage that defensive typing that it has. And usually for me, the best Kingdra set by far is Rain Dance, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and Substitute. Substitute is especially devastating because the most popular tactic to deal with Kingdra is to switch Tyranitar in and out of battle, and you completely destroy that with Substitute. You substitute on like a Swampert to Protect or something along those lines, and yeah, it's really, really, really devastating. And with Ludicolo, Ludicolo is kind of the opposite, actually. You kind of want to just run. You could run a bit of bulk on Ludicolo, but usually the best thing to do with Ludicolo is to run pretty much the same. I think the best benchmark for Ludicolo especially is for Ludicolo to run speed for a max speed Tyranitar. So Tyranitar that isn't running Jolly, but for Tyranitar that go all the way up to 221. So 222 is usually good. You could go a bit faster. Like, if you really want to, you could go up to 223. 223 allows you to outrun a lot of defensive mixed Metagross. A lot of mixed Metagross hover around this range, although a lot of Metagross just go all the way to 239. They usually don't settle here, so for our purposes, we're just going to go to 222. It's no big deal. And then the rest goes into bulk. Ludicolo is deceptively bulky. It has really high SPDF, or not really high SPDF, it just has high SPDF, base 100. But with base 100, 9 HP, Ludicolo is one of the best Swampert switches in the entire game. Now, because we have no normal resists, Snorlax is going to be a real pain, for sure. So the objective here is just to throw super powerful attacks at it and just hope for the best. That's actually one of the main reasons why we're going to use a max modest lead Zapdos. You don't really see this all too much, but we're definitely going to use it here. And we're not going to use Hidden Power. We actually might have to use Hidden Power Ice, actually. Definitely, we're going to have to use Hidden Power Ice. And trapping Blissey is going to be a bit of a pain, but it can be done, for sure. Especially in tandem with Jolteon. Rain Dance Jolteon is definitely fun. I love that. I might actually run, not Refresh, but Roar on Swampert, because Roar, these type of styles are weaker to like Speed Pass, Calm Mind Pass, SD Pass. Roar Swampert dumpsters all of that. From the not so much Calm Mind Pass Celebi. God no. In fact, Celebi completely dumpsters us. So we might actually have to ditch Jolteon just because the Celebi weakness is too all-consumingly bad if we do that. That's another thing too. Special offense teams need to be very sturdy into Celebi, and if they're not, it gets pretty ugly. So for here, yeah, we got the Celebi Swampert combo. That's cool. This is actually a well-known team I've built in the past. In fact, rather than just building it, I'm just going to show you guys the team that I have. Where is it, actually? Yeah, I have a bunch of special offense stuff in here. I just need to find the one I'm looking for. Where are you? Ah, there you are. The title of this is inaccurate, but this is the team that I use. Really cool. It uses defensive Swampert, but this is the... I think this is actually linked into the thread itself. But we're actually going to do something a bit different then, because I forgot I actually linked this into the thread because I'm stupid. So we're going to take a different approach. So rather than lead Zapdos, we're going to go completely insane. We're going to do Vaporeon, Kingdra, Ludicolo, because we're absolute madmen, and I have actively decided to just be a complete crazy person. We're going to go Metagross, and then throw in our Zapdos. Oh wait, we have no Electric Resist. Yeah, we can't do that, actually. Ripperoni that. Okay, we need an Electric Resist? No problem. We'll just... Celebi plus Meta, that should be good enough for opposing Celebi, right? Tar is gonna be a bitch, but... You know. Well, maybe not. It's just... Lead Tyranitar is going to be a bitch. Which is probably why... I might actually have to drop a Rain Abuser here, actually, to make this work. Yeah, so we'll just run Kingdra. Because Kingdra is cool. And then, actually, you know what? We're not even going to go with Kingdra. We're going to do something a bit more out there. We're just going to go Gorbis. Because Gorbis is cool and awesome. So, we're going to run... I don't know how much speed we need on Gorbis. I know this is probably... Yeah, we're going to need 198. The ties of... what's it called? Meta. And then... Yeah, because we're absolute madmen and we're using Gorbis. You know, Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, and then Baton Pass, maybe? Baton Pass doesn't sound terrible. It's actually like the one thing that I can do is Baton Pass. Does Psychic hit anything that's worth... I mean, not really. I'm actually just run... what is it? Surf? Yeah, Surf. Surf just sounds good. And we have these two. We'll run Sub. We'll run Surf on Vaporeon as well. Just because. We'll run Roar. And then we'll run Baton Pass. So. Yeah, I have not... Just because, you know... Surf is more consistent, and some of the ABR simps out there will probably like that a bit more, that there are 100% accurate moves. ABR, if you're watching this, I will never understand your fetishization with 100% accurate moves. I know you're one of the best players of all time. I know you have a fuck ton of trophies. I wish I had as many trophies as you. But for fuck's sake, use inaccurate moves. Just use Hydro Pump once. It's not that bad. You aren't going to miss. If you believe that it's not going to miss, it's not going to miss. That is actually how it works. So, APR, if you're watching this, use Hydro Pump. It's cool. It's good. You look like a cool kid for using it. You look even cooler if you beat somebody with it. Those are like the rules of engagement. If you beat somebody using Hydro Pump, you're objectively just better than the guy who is beating the person of Surf. That's what I'd say. But those are my opinions. But yeah, this is cool. You know, the Choice Band, Metagross. We got our Rainmon. Pretty cool core here. Honestly, it might not even need Celebi. We could probably use something else. If we don't mind trading, what's it called, Vaporeon early on, we could use something like Raikou. Raikou is actually really cool here. Yeah, actually, Raikou is just better. Because we can trade with this, we can damage Zapdos. And if we don't mind... Well, we're not going to be switching Raikou in anything. So we'll just be attacking lead Zapdos. So it might actually be better to use Salic here. The Salic Berry set. We'll throw an Ice Beam as well. And because we're using the Salic Berry set, we'll put on Timid. Suicune is definitely a concern here, but no matter. And then we'll use my favorite Raikou set, which is these two and Crunch. Crunch is awesome on this Raikou. It's debatable of whether to use Modest or not. Do we greed and Modest? The main thing that makes Raikou good is the speed and the ability to outrun bulky Duck Trio. But you know what? I'm an asshole. I'm gonna greed it. We're just going to go Modest because, haha, we're greedy. We're just going to 2-hit KO every single Swampert in existence because we're cool kids like that. And cool kids do cool kid things. Like run Modest Raikou. Because we're cool kids. Also, BKC just uploaded a video called The Pokeball Problem. I'm going to be watching that after I make this. So, yeah. I should make a dedicated video. This is like a cool video idea. Building with like every single... Trying to make a special offense team with every Pokemon in Advanced OU. That, with the exception of like obviously terrible, like little cup Pokemon, we're not going to do that. But that doesn't sound like a terrible idea, honestly. I might like that idea. It doesn't sound terrible. So yeah, this is our squad. It's cool. Awesome. Alright. And we'll build one more thing. I think you guys get the gist of it now. Dedicated lead, Zapdos, Duck Trio, Rock Resist, Electric Resist. Cool kid stuff, right? I've been seeing cool kid a lot, but only cool kids use special offense. Oh, I should probably build a P2 squad, so this is probably the last team that I'll build here. So Porygon 2 fits a very specific role. Porygon 2 traps Duck Trio. So we might not actually run T-Wave here. We might run... I know for a fact we're going to use Recover. We'll use Ice Beam. Thunderbolt. And then From here, we might actually just use T-Wave. Because we're going to end up using Celebi, right? Celebi is guaranteed to be used here because it's a P2 team. Of course you're going to use Celebi. Why else would you use Porygon 2? Porygon 2 is a bit different. Because, one, we're going to run a Metagross. Because the whole thing is that we're always going to run Zapdos. You know, Zapdos, Dugtrio, those are the rules, right? But we're going to lead with Zapdos because we can't fit the other leads. So we are going to use lead Zapdos. We have Porygon 2, we have Meta. We're going to throw in Raikou. Because Raikou... And we're going to run Celebi. So this is a pretty basic P2 squad. Some people would drop Meta and they would run Suicune. You know, no rock resist. I'm not that type of guy. I'm just going to run Metagross. Because I'm not an insane crazy person who wants to immediately lose to Snorlax. We're not going to do that. We're not going to immediately lose to Snorlax. We're going to beat Snorlax. You know why? Because we're going to beat Snorlax. And that's what I decided we're going to do today. Although, this is tough. This is tough. P2 squads have always been weird for me. Because, like, P2 is cool, right? Enabling Raikou is cool. But it's hard to be good into, like, the non-stall shit. What's, like, a rock resist that's, like, weak to Dugtrio? Honestly, like, Swampert wouldn't be terrible. I don't really use P2 all of that much, and this is, like, one of the reasons. It's because P2 is so hard to fit. And it's hard to make, like, super satisfactory P2 teams. We're good into Ments at the very least. And Gara. So there is that. I do think we want Swampert, though. Despite the Snorlax nonsense that we're going to have to endure. We're not really worried about Suicune. We have a Raikou and a Zapdos. So we have those. We have a Swampert. We are going to tank up our Swampert. We're not really going to make it, like, tanky. We're going to make it, you know, more offensive-oriented. Obviously, because it's a special offense team. We don't want to give Skarmory too many opportunities. That's another reason why these Swamperts have, like, a lot of power in their max modest, is to limit Skarmory. Sometimes you see Jirachi over Raikou, but Raikou P2 is a classic. I feel like you gotta run it. And here, let's see. Yeah, we got these two. EV it up. We'll decide what we want with Zapdos here soon enough. So, we're gonna do Calm Mind, of course. You know, Giga Drain. Psychic. And Hidden Power Fire. This is where I'm going to do something interesting, though. We're going to make Raikou roar. So we'll do this. We'll put on roar, because we want a dumpster Blissey. Fuck over Suicune. Yeah, you could go Modest again, but honestly, I feel like this Raikou wants to be fast. Outrun. Maybe, what are you missing out if you go... Oh, Gengar. Gengar and Starmie are big. Yeah, we want to be able to outrun those with this Raikou. So, yeah. Basic Doug set. Not Hidden Power Grass. God, no. Do not do that. That would be terrible. And then... Ooh. That's a bit too high. We just went through 2. There we go. So we got these. Don't know the last move on Pert. Last move on Pert. We're good against Gara. We're definitely good against Swampert, for sure. Might just make it Roar, honestly. When in doubt, do not doubt. Just make it Roar. And then this is gonna end up being T-Wave. Hidden Power Ice, because we don't really need it to be Hidden Power Grass. Oh, Hidden Power Grass is nice here. No, we dick on Flygon pretty handedly. So, we'll just make it, Timid. 301. No, I feel like we want to creep Timid Molt, then we'll just do that. So yeah, I think that this is a good starting point for most people. I feel like that most people who watch this will get a good grasp of how to build special offense. I hope so, anyway. And this is a really good style. It's really cool. I'd like to see these type of special offense teams more at a high-level play. Someday I hope we do. But, yeah, I would get into more specifics of how to play it and stuff. But I just wanted to give, like, a good starting point with how to build it. And I feel like that this video is probably long enough as is, so I'm going to end it here. So if you guys enjoy this video, like it. And... yeah, I got nothing else to say. Later, nerds.